This is a tutorial on how to cold fire the SH282 steam locomotive in Derail Valley while using the Realistic Steamer Overhaul mod. I am recording this video using version 0.9.6 of the mod. If you'd like to fire your own steamer from cold, you can do that by going into the mod options, which you get by clicking on these little slider icon and setting the initial boiler pressure to 0 as I have it here. I have in my inventory an expert shovel. You really want to do this with an expert shovel, not the standard shovel or the golden shovel. And my lighter. So we'll just hop into this freshly spawned steamer at the harbor roundhouse. You'll note we have about a quarter of the way up on the sight glass of water in the boiler. We have a little bit over 0 bars indicated pressure, and the fire is cold. First step is to open up the damper fully, put in 1 shovelful of the expert shovel of coal into the firebox, pull out your lighter, and lighter off. Okay. Immediately you'll see that our temperature here is about 340, 345 degrees centigrade. Looking at the chimney, we're getting nice, clean, clear smoke. I am also running with the heads-up display mod enabled, which will help me explain what's going on as we go through this procedure, but you can do this without any additional information. The main part of the technique is to watch the thermometer, and whenever you see the temperature starting to drop, add in another shovelful of coal. So we're down from about 350 down to a little under 340 degrees centigrade, so we'll pop in a second shovelful. And we'll see the temperature increase to just under 420 degrees centigrade. We still have fairly clear smoke, so the fire is burning cleanly. Temperature has dropped off the peak of 420 degrees. Add in shovelful number 3. See the temperature has increased again, but that the smoke is now this sort of black to dark gray color, and what this means is that the fire is not burning cleanly, it's not getting enough air. You can see this also indicated in the heads-up display where it says oxygen availability, which is down to 85%. Now note that as the coal burns off, this oxygen availability figure is increasing, and when it gets back up to 100%, that means that we're burning the coal as efficiently as possible and getting the most energy out of it. But we want to make sure to keep that number nice and high, which corresponds to keeping this smoke as clear as we can make it. And one way we can help that out is by turning on the blower. So we don't have a whole lot of pressure, so the blower isn't going to be terribly effective, but if we open up the blower fully, you can see that the smoke has now gone back to a nice clear color, and that our temperature is increased to 450 degrees centigrade or so. So we're just going to leave the blower on, get as much air into the fire as we can, and watch this figure. Temperature is still pretty steady at 400, 445 degrees centigrade. But if you look carefully, you can see that it is in fact dropping. Now down to about 440, we'll add another shovelful of coal. Immediately, temperature kicks up. 495, almost 500 degrees centigrade. And dropping. Another shovelful. You'll see that our temperature is now about 500 degrees and rising. And this means to together with the relatively dark color of the smoke that we don't have enough oxygen in the fire, and so it's time to wait until some of the coal is burned off. As the coal burns off and the remaining coal is burning more cleanly, the temperature will continue to rise. The temperature here indicated on the gauge is tied to the heat yield figure on the heads-up display, showing how much actual heat is getting into the boiler. You can see that the heat yield in the heads-up display is dropping. You can also notice that reflected in the thermometer as the needle is dropped off of its peak of 520 degrees centigrade and is heading back towards 510, 515. So, another shovelful of coal. We are now up to 530-ish degrees centigrade and rising. Should probably hit 540 quite shortly. And you'll see that our boiler pressure is now off the peg. We are passing 1 bar of pressure and continuing to rise. Our temperature has peaked. It is no longer increasing. It was headed towards 550, but is now dropping down below 540. Put in another shovelful of coal. And you can see that the thermometer is now rising again. We are passing upwards through 440, or 540 rather, heading towards 550. We're a little bit over 1 bar of pressure in the boiler. Checking the smoke color. It's pretty dark still. But that's really not what you want to be watching. What you want to be watching is this thermometer. Temperature gauge has passed 560. And it seems to have stopped, is no longer rising, and in fact looks to be dropping a little bit. Add some more coal. We are now increasing from 560 very slowly. And again, the secret here is to use the expert shovel so that you can add in just a little bit of coal at a time to keep from smothering the fire with too much coal, and using as much of the blower as you can. This process is slowest at the beginning because we don't have any boiler pressure, but as the pressure increases and the blower becomes more effective, this whole process will go a lot faster. We are passing 580 degrees centigrade, and looks to be dropping now. Drop in some more coal. Heading up through 590, headed towards 600. Passing through 600, still appears to be rising. And now the needle is sinking again, back to 600 and dropping a little bit below. Still at about 1.5 bar of pressure. Add some more coal. Temperature gauge is up to 610 now, and heading up towards 620. And again, if you're using the heads-up display mod, as I am here, you can see that we're now passing 2 megawatts of heat going into the boiler. We're at about 615 or so, and no longer rising. Add some more coal. Okay, we're now at 620 and rising. Passing 630. And you see we've hit 2 bar of pressure, and you can start to hear the blower. Now that we have 2 bar of pressure, the blower is really going to start speeding up this process. We're at 230 and dropping. More coal. 640 and rising. about 650. Still rising. Seems to be stable at 650. Maybe dropping a little bit. Time for some more coal. Now past 650. Up to 660 now. Still rising. Stable at about 665 degrees centigrade. And dropping, so add some more coal. $670. $680. $680 and stable. Maybe dropping a little bit, up to 2.5 bar of pressure. Now that we've added some more coal, we're at 690 and rising. 700 degrees centigrade. Got about 90 kilograms of coal in the firebox. And dropping down below 700, so more coal. About to hit 3 bar of pressure. Rising from 700. 710. 710 and holding. 710 and dropping. More coal. 720. I think I forgot I turned on procedural sky, so turn that off. Get some more light in here. $720 and dropping. More coal. Gonna go through some coal doing this. Up to 740 almost immediately. 740 and dropping. $740 and rising. $750. $750 and holding. More coal. $750 and holding. $750 and rising. $760. $760 and dropping. Apologize for the lighting. Up to 770 and holding. Coal. 790. Up to 4 bar, rising. Temperature is dropping again. More coal. Up to 800 degrees centigrade. And steady. A little more coal. 800 and steady, 800 and rising, 810, and steady, 810 and rising, 820, and steady, dropping a little, 830, steady, 835, 840, and rising, stable at about 840 now, 850, and rising, and steady, 860. Stable at about 865. Passing 5.5 bar of pressure. 870. 875. Seems to be dropping. 880. And stable. 890. 900. 910. And steady. 920. A little over 920 and steady. 930. To 7 bar of pressure. Still about 930. 940. 940 and dropping. Almost 950. Dropping. 955-ish. 965-ish. And dropping. 975. 980. You're looking at the HUD, you can see that we've passed 8 megawatts of energy power going into the boiler. We've passed 8 bar of pressure or so, which means we're probably about ready to move out. Get the turntable aligned. Got a nice plume of whitish smoke. Still have the blower running on full. Got about 9.5 bar of pressure. Crack the regulator. Away we go. Probably turn off the blower. Close the damper now. Notice that now that we've closed the damper and turned off the blower, that the smoke has returned to a black color, and that the temperature has dropped way down to a maintenance level of 150 to 200 degrees centigrade. If you're looking at the HUD, you'll see that oxygen availability is at 1%, and so the fire is damped and barely burning any fuel at this time. If you want to build up more pressure, simply open the damper, add some blower. Still have this dark black color. Add more blower. And it clears up. And away into the sunset. Thank you very much for watching.